Hi there, this is Jonathan Ginsberg. I'm an Atlanta area personal bankruptcy attorney, and today I'd like to answer the question, how can I file bankruptcy if I have no money? And this is actually a question I get a lot from friends and folks that I run across that I tell them I'm a bankruptcy attorney. They say, well, if somebody's bankrupt or they need to file bankruptcy, how do they pay you? How do they have enough money to pay the filing fee, which is approximately $300 for either a Chapter 7 or a Chapter 13? And the answer is this. First of all, if you have nothing, if you're basically, you own nothing, you're not working, you're basically what's called judgment proof. And sometimes folks, especially older folks, if their only source of income is Social Security, or they're disabled and their only source of income is Social Security disability, they are in fact judgment proof. And I would say don't file bankruptcy. You don't need to. All we need to do is to write what are called drop dead letters to the creditors, and they will leave you alone. They can sue you all they want. They're not going to get anything. But other people are facing hopefully what is a temporary hard time, meaning that they're either between jobs or they're underpaid or they don't really have any assets to speak of, but they've got a lot of creditors. Maybe they have tax debt they owe. And in those situations, what I would tell somebody is, yes, you don't have any money right now, but if you need to file bankruptcy, you need to find a way. Because if you think about it, if you have, let's say, $75,000 in credit card debt and $50,000 of tax debt that may be dischargeable, and you're not working and you qualify for Chapter 7, does it not make sense to spend $1,500 or $2,000, whatever the cost of a Chapter 7 would be in your case, to get rid of $100,000 of debt? And I would submit respectfully that it is. That if that means you've got to get a second job or cut out cable or give up smoking or some other habit or give up a membership in the health club, whatever you need to do, find a way to get the money to file bankruptcy. If you have to borrow it from a relative or friend, do that. And again, I'm not saying that facetiously or lightly, because I realize that's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to give up cable TV if you have kids at home. And certainly giving up smoking is not an easy thing to do. But the value proposition of eliminating tens of thousands of dollars of debt for $1,000 or $2,000, it really makes a lot of sense. And the problem is if you say, well, I'd rather just wait and see what happens, you could get another job, which again is not a bad thing, but that may take you out of Chapter 7 territory because the means test issue. You could also find yourself with a lot of lawsuits. And if you have a lawsuit, that means you've got a judgment typically. A judgment means that anytime you have an asset like a bank account or wages that's subject to being seized. Also, if you do file bankruptcy later on and you've got several judgments, I've got to then file a motion to avoid the judgment lien. That's extra work. It could be an extra cost. If you have tax debt, that IRS or Georgia could file a tax lien. Again, you cannot get rid of a tax lien in a bankruptcy. We can get rid of the underlying tax debt if it's stale, which means it's very old, but the tax lien may stay. And that could be a problem later on if you buy a house or have any other sort of hard assets. So bottom line is that many times it does not make sense to wait. If the timing is right to file bankruptcy now, go ahead and do that. And like I said, if it means you've got to borrow from friends or from family or sell things on eBay or do whatever you have to do, it probably makes sense to do that. As a bankruptcy attorney, I try to help my clients and certainly give them any break I can, but realize bankruptcy petition filings are much more complicated than it was. I mean, I'm recording this in 2018. It's a lot more difficult than it was in 2008, a lot more difficult even more so than it was in 1998. Bankruptcy petitions now, they've changed the forms. They're close to 100 pages. There's a lot of documentation. It really takes a lot of know-how about how to do this and preparation. And look, the bankruptcy petition program that we use is, I think it's close to $2,000. So there's a lot of effort that goes into filing a bankruptcy. You want somebody who understands how the process works, who's done it before, and who can anticipate problems and deal with those problems. So getting a good bankruptcy lawyer does make sense. And again, if it means you've got to find a way to get the money to pay your lawyer, to get the bankruptcy started, to get the filing fee paid and the attorney paid, then again, the value proposition is if it makes sense to do it, find a way to get that done, and don't let a temporary lack of money stop you from making making a financial move that could really benefit you greatly in years to come. So that's my take on how to approach the situation of I don't have any money, but I need to file bankruptcy. And again, I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up on YouTube, like it on Facebook. Any comments, please leave them in the comment section here. And if you've not already done so, visit my various websites. I've got one called Atlanta-Bankruptcy-Attorney, which will tell you pretty much anything you want to know about bankruptcy. My law firm website at glowlaw.com has got a good bankruptcy section with kind of the highlights. I've got a blog at thebklawyer.com, and I've got another website called Atlanta-Bankruptcy.com, which I've been updating. It's got some other good information there and a link to a survival kit. I think you'll find that helpful. So again, I encourage you to take advantage of all these resources I put out there. I'm happy to answer your questions if you want to reach out to me directly. And if I can be of service to you, of course, I'd love to do that as well. So again, my name is Jonathan Ginsberg, wishing you all the best. Thanks a lot. Hi, this is Jonathan, and I hope you found this video helpful. I'd like to invite you to download my free Debt Destroyer Survival Kit right now. I've packed my survival kit with answers to the questions I've heard from clients for over 25 years here in the Atlanta area. Inside the survival kit, you'll find clear, easy to understand answers to critical topics about how to solve debt problems once and for all, including how do I protect my stuff, my house, car, and personal property if I file for bankruptcy? Are there any legitimate alternatives to bankruptcy? Will I ever get credit again, and if so, when? What mistakes must I avoid to get the most benefit out of bankruptcy? You can claim your copy right now by visiting my Atlanta-Bankruptcy.com website. And you are always welcome to use the email form on my website to ask me anything about debt and personal bankruptcy in Atlanta. www.atlanta-bankruptcy.com. And as always, I wish you the best.